Hi all, my name is Mahesh Kumar Vaka. In this session, we are going to talk about getters and setters in Java. Those are just some public methods, and those are two conventional type of methods we use, and those are plainly used for retrieving the data and updating the data for an instance variable. If you're not sure about what instance variable is, what public methods, and what type of access modifiers, you can go to my playlist as shown here, and you have all the basics covered so that you'll be able to understand things further. Let's come back here, and here we have to understand that in a class we know that we have the variables and methods, right? So for our instance variables, let us say I'm giving the access modifier private. Why do we give private? It is just to make sure that we are only allowing the access within the class, right? But our class may have to be available for other classes, but we are making sure that the retrieval or the updating of the data is happening through methods. So those are called getters and setters. So in the example below, I have taken three variables named name, age, and eligible for promotion. So those are the three instance variables which I have taken for the class employee. So I'm not going to be able to set the values for these variables outside of my class, right? So for making sure that that is done, we are going to create some getters and setter methods. This is just a kind of uh, convention, or say this is just a process wherein we follow some naming convention like this. Here we start the getter like get, and followed by the uppercase letter of the variable and the whole variable name. That's what I mentioned here. Naming convention looks like get and the variable name with first letter uppercase. And similarly for setter, set and variable name with first letter uppercase. In case we are using any Boolean variables, when I'm saying Boolean, it is just about setting it to true or false. There's no other values. So for those kind of variables, the setter, the setters and getters are also similar, but for getter, we will generally see as is and variable name with first letter uppercase. So you see here that I have taken eligible for promotion as a Boolean, right? So in that case, the getter method will be like is eligible for promotion, because for Booleans is and the variable name makes more sense. So that's how the getters and setters are created for any instance variables. So let's go back to one program wherein I will just take the class and create the variables here. Now to get the getters and setters methods, we can just use the functionalities of the IDE here. I can just right click on this class file, and I can go to the source, and here we can see that generate getters and setters. I need not type all those getters and setter methods. I can just click on it, and it will ask for which variable we need the getters and setters. So here I am selecting all the variables and going to click on generate. So here we see that all these getters and setters are getting generated. So here we see that for a get name, we will just return the name, and for set method or the setter method, we are just setting it through the here we are using the keyword this. I have told about that in my previous session. So through this we are able to get, I mean retrieve, and set or say update the variables. So because this is done, we will take another class and see how it's happening. So let us say here I have created an employee object, and then I have used the setter methods to make sure that we are setting the values for each of the variables. So if I execute this, we should see an employee object. Here we are seeing an employee object printed, but that is not something readable, right? So for such cases, you can again go to the actual class and then try to use another method called toString. What it does, it will make something readable. It will not return the object version of the string, but it will return the actual values. So for that, I can click on generate toString here. And if I do that, it will again ask which fields to be used for the toString. So if I click generate, yeah, here I can see that toString and returns employee and with some information in the braces. So if I save this here and then try to go and execute my original program, yeah, here I can see something readable, which is much better. So that's why toString implementation is commonly done. So here I see the employee within the braces. I see name, age, and eligible for promotion, right? So you might be wondering what's the use of this getters and setters. It's just like we have created private variables but allowed the access through some other methods, right? What's the use of them? Like let us say if I'm giving some age, let us say I'm going to give the age as 0, which is incorrect. There is no person with age 0, right? So if I'm going to give the age 0 and then execute, it's saying that the age is 0, which should not be the case. So if I want to limit such kind of entries, or if I want to make sure that incorrect values are not provided, I can still try to write a logic in my setter method. If age is less than 20 or age is greater than 60, this symbol indicates or. Okay, so if age is less than 20 or age is greater than 60, we don't want to allow that, right? So in such cases, let us say we are trying to throw an exception. Exception handling is an important thing. I'll tell about that more in detail in the further sessions. But for now, understand that I'm creating an exception which is making sure that user is not entering incorrect values. Okay. So in the runtime, this is something like system provided exception class, and in that we can give some readable message. Let's say I'm giving something readable like that. So let us say I'm giving still 0, and what will be the difference? We'll see the difference as some runtime exception happened and our employees are not found in provided age range. So that's how we can make sure that users or whoever is making use of this class do not provide incorrect values like that. So that's one basic use. Maybe you'll understand things when you implement, and you'll find some interesting things when you implement the objects and the array of strings or array of objects. Then you'll find getters and setters more interesting. That's all for now for this session. Consider subscribing this channel and also find the basic videos from the beginning here in this playlist. Have a good day. Bye bye.